This is Rocco Pendola from TheStreet. We're doing the first episode of The Beach Meets the Street here at Pandora headquarters in Oakland, California, just across the bay from San Francisco, and we're really happy to have our first guest, Tim Westergren, the co-founder and chief strategy officer at Pandora. But I want to go back to the very beginning. From what I understand, kind of like Facebook, this wasn't intended to be a company that has 2 floors and a really big office tower in downtown Oakland. It didn't start as Pandora. I mean, take us to the beginning. How did this thing, where was the seed planted for this thing?
Sure. So the company is actually 13 years old as a business. The idea for it I hatched really over many years prior to that when I was a working musician. So before I did this, I was in rock bands for a long time, and I was a film composer for a while as well, so I wrote music for movies. And as a film composer, I literally spent years trying to understand another person's music taste, so a film director. The job of a composer, writing for movies is, profile your director's taste and give them what they want. And I would do that by playing music for them and getting their feedback. And I sort of translate that into musicological information. It's like taste profiling. That kernel is what prompted the idea eventually one day of the Music Genome Project, which is the foundation for Pandora. And that was back in 1999, so a long time ago. So it happened 1999, Silicon Valley, not a bad time to take a shot at something. And
right.
Everybody was founding companies, and I shared the idea with a friend, and he said, "Hey man, let's see if we can do something with this." And kind of almost before I knew it, I sort of quit my composing, wrote a business plan, tried to raise money, and then raised some seed capital in March of 2000, and we were off to the races. John, who I first shared it with, had already started and sold a business, so yeah, he came to this with some experience. I'd never done it before.
Okay, so you had somebody with a bit of background. And
yeah, he kind of kick-started the whole thing, so he sort of knew the nuts and bolts of getting going. Our third co-founder was a guy named Will Glazer, who was a technologist, so he brought the computer science piece to this and the mathematics that eventually really shaped the product. But yeah, we had a starter kit. I mean, there was a small network of investors from John and Will, but they weren't really investing in this stage and in this space. So we pretty quickly had to go to people that we knew, and it was a matter of, okay, I'm going to open my own Rolodex, which wasn't even electronic at the time, and I'm going to just, who do I know who might know somebody that would be interested in investing, and we cobbled together that round of financing largely from friends and family, and as you said, felt from the very beginning an enormous obligation to that money. We were going to make it happen one way or another because of the sort of investment that people have made. When we ultimately raised that financing, the first office we had was a studio apartment in South San Francisco. Classic South of Market story.
That's so awesome. So it literally wasn't founded in an apartment, but the beginnings of Pandora. And at that time, it probably wasn't even called Pandora.
No.
Just the Music Genome Project. There's a South of Market apartment in San Francisco.
With thick black shag carpeting.
And you paid rent on it.
Yes,
What was the rent in '99?
Boy.
Roughly.
I think it was probably $400 or $500 a month.
It paid probably, a studio, probably $1,800 now?
Yeah, at least
like
4 or 5 times that. Now, we launched in March of 2000, which was right when everything kind of fell off a cliff. Right. So we went into the storm. And really essentially just hung on for dear life. I mean, we essentially survived, is all I could say, of those first 4 years. We experimented with lots of different business models. We spent a good amount of that time without salary, over 2 years of it not taking salary, and just sort of trying to cobble together something to keep us going. It wasn't until literally 2004 that we received a sort of a fresh infusion of capital and kind of repurposed the company and launched a new Pandora. And we worked 7 days a week from early in the morning until we are headed to pillow, early in the morning. It was nonstop. The chances of Pandora being here today are, I gotta think, like 1 in a million. I mean, given where we started and what we went through to get here, it's very, very unlikely.
And now, like I said before, you're here, and this is something that floored me. Maybe it shouldn't, but I'm not a very good camera person, and we're shooting this on an iPhone. So I can't walk over to where Tim's desk is. But just off to the left, there's a bunch of cubicles, and you're set up in a cubicle.
Yeah.
You don't have an office.
No.
Why not?
No reason to, you know. I mean, offices are bad for company, I think, culture. I think it's intermixing and leveling the organization is really vital. Our decision to go public was driven by sort of a couple things, you know. One was the sense that we had attained a certain level of confidence and predictability in our business. There's some fluctuation, as you know, but had a pretty good sense that we were ready for that kind of scrutiny. There had been investors in the company for, at that point, 7 years, and investors deserve a return. I mean, you know, we went public on a Wednesday, and I think Thursday was like Tuesday. I don't think the company dramatically changed in some way. I think that, you know, when I walked around the corner on Wall Street and saw the Pandora sign on covering the exchange, you know, I stopped for a moment. You know, I thought, wow, you know, it was really, I was proud of it, very proud of it, and it was. I was proud personally, but I was really proud on behalf of everybody too. I knew that everyone in the company had seen that and was, you know, it's an accomplishment. And I think we stopped and we celebrated it as we should have. But I think that the next morning, it wasn't like everybody's attitude changed or the sort of the way we worked changed. I think it's like very much the same company.